Hello shifters, we're back. This time we're gonna talk about something that it's about to get very nerdy and geeky in here, so just letting you know.
Anime.
Yeah. So we got some news regarding the new Death Note movie that's supposed to come out, I believe, in 2017. So Lisa, guide us through. But before that, I just want to introduce everyone on this panel. So Lisa Martel, our host, how you doing?
I'm great, and you guys know I am a big fan of anime.
All right, and Sai, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. I'm a big anime nerd. Let's get into it.
And you like staying here. Machi, how you doing, bro?
What's a Death Note?
Yeah, this guy actually doesn't know what Death Note is. So Lisa,
I'll school him.
just get right into it and guide us through.
All right, well, the Death Note movie heads to Netflix after being dropped by Warner Brothers. Directed by Adam Wingard and starring Nate Wolff, the synopsis of the manga adaptation goes as follows. Light Yagami is a genius high school student who is about to learn about life through a book of death. When a bored Shinigami, a god of death named Ryuk, drops a black notepad called a Death Note, Light receives power over life and death with the stroke of a pen. Determined to use this dark gift for the best, Light sets out to rid the world of evil, namely the people he believes to be evil. Should anyone hold such power, the consequences of Light's actions will set the world ablaze. Death Note will also be written by Fantastic Four's Jeremy Slater. Matt, are you excited for a Netflix Death Note movie?
So, before we get into it, I just want to tell you, so I'm writing the show notes in pre-production before we meet up, and these guys had no idea who was writing this Death Note movie, but they were really hyped about the idea of a Death Note movie. So Matt, what's the point on this?
What? Okay, so in terms of the story, I think it's really cool. It's kind of like Japanese version of the Spectre. If anybody knows who the Spectre is in DC Comics, he's kind of like God's judgment. He kind of sees who's good or evil. But who's this director? Like I've never heard of him.
He's made a couple small independent work. I don't think you would have heard of him before. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not going to jump too badly. But the writer for Fantastic Four, I don't know about that one. I can see why Warner Brothers would have dropped this film. They're not being very confident in the director, who's a first-time director, and this seems like a movie that would be a fairly big budget. And the writer who has definitely not proven himself. But Nat Wolff, I actually quite enjoyed Paper Towns. I thought it was actually quite fun. It wasn't the greatest movie, but I enjoyed it. So I'm excited to see him getting more work, and hopefully he can help lead this. And I'm actually really excited to see that Netflix picked it up, because Netflix is becoming pretty big in terms of picking up some of these big movies like Beast of No Nation
and making them work.
And making them work really well. So I'm a little bit hesitant in terms of the talent involved or behind the camera, but in front of the camera, and who's distributing this and producing it. It's kind of like half and half, you know.
Simon?
You just deflated my whole energy right now with what you said about the Fantastic Four writer. But let's bring it right back. All right. So, Death Note. The anime itself is an excellent anime. I mean, we have some doubts, as you've heard, about the adaptation to a movie, but the source material is gold. It's excellent. It's a power fantasy, like most mangas or animes are, about a boy finding an extraordinary power over life and death. It's also a psychological thriller, because you see him using that power and the authorities trying to figure out what's causing all these deaths. And there's another, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil you, but there's an authority figure that I'll call, who plays his nemesis. It's kind of like a
Death Note?
What yeah. Sherlock Holmes, there you go. It's kind of like a Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty situation, where there's a protagonist and an antagonist, both of them genius level, and both of them trying to outplay each other. So there's multiple layers to this anime. It's an excellent anime. It's not something that is made for children as you would normally think about anime. It's very smart. It's a psychological thriller. There's a mystery behind it. There's a little bit of film noir in there as well. It's really a great source material. So let's just hope that they make a good movie out of it.
I'm stoked. I'm super excited about this, even if the Fantastic Four writer is involved. Listen, the biggest problem with Fantastic Four is not the director, the actors, or the writer. It was mostly maybe the writer, but it was mostly the studio getting involved and scrapping this movie altogether. Now they're gonna have more of an independent approach to it, and I'm pretty sure that Netflix has had an amazing relationship with their writers, directors, and all that.
They're very hands-off.
Yeah, they're really hands-off, and they say, make it work, and if it's good, we distribute it. It's pretty much what Netflix does.
Yeah.
So and so far Netflix has delivered nothing but gold in terms of adapting some of those very dark storyline, which brings me to my main point. Death Note is a very, very, very dark story. Okay, and I don't think that releasing it in theaters would have been the best approach anyway. You know what
What's
I mean?
the rating on this movie? Do we have any?
Netflix doesn't generally do ratings.
No.
They
Maybe for
have
the TV shows they
viewer
don't.
ratings.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it would
it's
probably
based
be rated
off
R.
Okay,
viewers.
because
Yeah.
this needs to be a hard R. A hard R.
This is
It's a
gonna
very
be-
dark story.
Yeah, this is gonna be very dark. And again, I don't think this is the kind of story that you want to, especially reading the synopsis. I don't think this is the kind of story that you want to incorporate in, or that you want to introduce in theaters. Again, because R-rated movies. Yeah, we have Deadpool, but usually R-rated comedies make money at the box office. But R-rated comic book movies that have because Death Note does not have any comedic element to it. This is again extremely dark, extremely violent, and I think Netflix is the perfect place to put it, especially if you look at Daredevil or what they were able to do with Jessica Jones.
That was dark.
And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, Netflix wants to pick it up. I'm even more excited now knowing that Netflix is producing it rather than Warner Brothers, especially given how Warner Brothers have handled some of their we're not gonna get it.
Yes.
Well, again, also the Nat Wolf from Paper Town. He's played the socially awkward character who, you know what I mean, in Paper Town. And if he plays the main character as Light Yagami or whatever they're gonna call him in this movie, if he plays the main character, I feel like he's got the acting chops to actually pull it off, And the director, I'm not too familiar with his work, so I can't comment on it. And the writer, well, this is the time that he's gonna have to prove himself, especially given the fact that Fox is not there to blame if he messes up.
For sure.
And you said it, the manga is pure gold. The story is pretty much made for you. You just adapt it.
Exactly.
It still requires a certain amount of skills from a writer, but again, it's not like it's all coming out of his head. He has something that he can refer to that is very well received among fans. And again, my last point is the fact that yes, this is coming on Netflix, but on Netflix, what's on Netflix right now? The Death Note series. So you're going to be able to watch the original Death Note anime and watch the Death Note movie at the very same time, so you're going to be able to compare directly with one another, and Netflix knows that, so they're not going to want to mess it up.
But I've been burned in the past, namely Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No.
I've been burned in the past, and I do not want this to happen again. So hopefully, I mean, everybody gets, deserves a second chance. We're not going to write the writer off, but please do this justice.
No, I will say this though. There's some writers have written horrible things and then gone on to write great things.
That is
Very true.
So again, not going to give him the benefit. We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And you know what? You guys really just convinced me on this story.
The story is
the amount of passion you guys brought to that.
Actually, because we're trying not to spoil it, and we really love the Death Note and the anime, and you guys are not familiar with Death Note. So based on the synopsis, what's your anticipation like, and what do you expect from this movie? Is this something that you would like to see? Starting with you, Matt.
I love a great villain, and from what Sai describes as a Sherlock Moriarty relationship, and how they're very similar, but kind of the antagonist is a little maybe a step further away from what the protagonist would be. My excitement just got a whole lot bigger now, just because of the depth of the villain that I'm anticipating now from this movie.
But the good thing about it is it takes that relationship, but it skews things. So the protagonist might be the protagonist or might be the antagonist.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't know, and that's
At
the
this
great
point, you end up cheering for the protagonist and not realizing that the protagonist is actually an antagonist.
Yeah, exactly.
And Lisa, because again, you as well, you're not too familiar with that storyline. Just based on this analysis, what's your expectation and how do you feel about that type of story?
Well, like I said, I'm not too sure about the darker storyline. However, I am willing to give it a try because with animes come those kind of storylines usually in, you know, when they're created and what writers want. I don't know, it's a little messed up when it comes to anime. I don't know, what do you think?
There's a lot of psychological thriller aspect to this I think you might really enjoy. I mean, there's more to it than just your typical anime story, which was why it resonated with the fans so much. There's, you know, the antagonist, protagonist, it's about where your moral compass is as well. So I highly think you will enjoy this.
I'm big on the psychological thriller effect, and based on what I just saw a little bit with the photos and that kind of thing, I'm excited when Netflix picks something up, especially something as well known with you guys and with the anime world. Is it popular within the fan base? For
it is.
Oh yeah,
it is very popular.
It is. If they mess it up, if that writer messes it up, if that writer messes it up, he's never going to work again.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
And with the writer coming off of Fantastic Four, we all know what train wreck those were. So, so again, this is an opportunity for him to, you know, hopefully redeem himself. And yeah, I'm excited to see what Netflix is going to bring. As you said, good reputation. Anime style is going to be strong, and I'm hopeful, and based on everything you guys have said, let's watch it. Let's get to it.
Well, guys, that was our take on the Death Note series being picked up for a movie by Netflix instead of Warner Brothers. What do you guys think? Are you excited for that? Is the fact that the Fantastic Four writer joining this project kind of, you know, decreasing your anticipation for it? Just let us know in the comment section down below, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and to follow us everywhere on social media at Shifter on Film. I just want to thank my panelists. Lisa, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at themonalisa07, or on Twitter, Lisa Martel, or on Facebook.
Matthew, where can people get you?
You can find me on Twitter at mjinqueen96.
Rawblack.
You can find me on YouTube, Rawblack, one word, or on Twitter, Real Rawblack.
Or here, because that's kind of where he pays rent. And you can find me everywhere at Just As Vlad on every social media. I keep it simple for you guys. And again, it was a pleasure talking with you. Catch you guys later.
Peace.
Thank you.
We're filming this in my basement.